thank you for listening to PoliticalStorm.com. I'm John Small. Got my son Troy with me here again. Hey, you were a huge success on yesterday's podcast.
I aim to please.
Yeah, like a whole generation of people out there that are, oh, you should have Troy Small back on. He was the best ever. Actually, that was your mom. So.
Okay, yeah. So one person.
Today, I had the opportunity to watch some of the political programs, Fox News Sunday, and I'm trying to think of what the other one was. I did not watch Meet the Press. There was another one, though. Anyway, what the heck was the name of the one? Oh, Face of the Nation. That's the one. So as I was watching, something that I thought was kind of interesting is there was a lady that was on one of the programs, and I'm paraphrasing what she said because to get it exactly the way she said it, I would have had to have taken notes or something, and I didn't do that. But she said, Trump is accused of saying the wrong thing, but Hillary keeps getting caught doing the wrong thing. And I was like, you know what? That's a pretty good point. Mm-hmm. Because, Trump is accused of saying things that, offend people. And a lot of the time, if you really look at what he says, it's probably not so offensive. Some people get offended very easily. But Hillary, according to this lady's observation, which I think was a pretty good observation, again, she said, I wrote this down, but I didn't write it down right after she said it, so it's not an exact quote. But she said something along the lines of, Trump is accused of saying the wrong thing, but Hillary keeps getting caught doing the wrong thing. And again, I just thought that was a pretty good distinction there. One of the other things we learned about is the big long list of blackberries that they've been smashing.
Smashing blackberries.
Again, I think that'd be a cool name for a band, don't you?
Metal band, maybe. But
Smashing Blackberries, the Clinton themes. And they keep asking how we're going to pay for the wall. Maybe we just start using all of her busted up blackberries, and we could stack those up. There's the wall. Take care of a section of it anyway. The Rasmussen poll that just came out shows Donald Trump ahead. Donald Trump 40%, Hillary Clinton 39%, Gary Johnson 7%, and Jill Stein 3%.
I don't even know who Jill Stein is, to be quite honest.
She's the Green Party candidate, and I had a chance to see her today. I think it was Fox News Sunday, and she was, it was, because she was talking to Mr. Wallace, and she was claiming that she's gotten zero media attention. And then he very correctly pointed out, well, you can't say that anymore because we had you on this show. But one of the things that she's going to want to work on, if you want to get invited back, when they try to change the subject and move on, you need to move on. She just kept talking, and he tried to stop her, and she just kept talking.
What was she talking about?
Whatever she felt like talking about. And I think that she needs to take a course on how to handle questions from the media.
Newsroom etiquette.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, she was... and I'm not going to say that what she had to say was terrible, because really what she had to say wasn't that bad. When you put her next to Gary Johnson, you look at those two, again, each one of them are kind of the third party or the fourth party, depending on which category you put them in. They're the additional options, so they would fall under the category of other for most of these polls. But when you look at that, when you sit her next to Gary Johnson, I think some of her ideas are fantastic, and I think some of his ideas are fantastic. But do you really think we're going to get a third-party candidate that will be taken seriously enough that they actually have a chance to win?
I honestly don't think we're ever going to get a third-party candidate that will be taken seriously enough to win. Here's
the thing. I think someday we will. And honestly, of all the elections that we've ever had in the entire time that I've been alive, and definitely the entire time you've been alive, this is the perfect storm. We've got both candidates for the two major parties.
Very polarizing.
There are people who, more people dislike them than like them. Now, here's the thing that's interesting to me, though. The number of people that turn up at Donald Trump events. I mean, if he's got so many people that don't like him, and if he's got such a huge unfavorable number, why is it that thousands of people keep turning up at these events? I mean, he's got to have a pretty good following, because every one of these events, there's thousands of people there. The other thing that's interesting is this weekend he had the opportunity to go to a church in Detroit, and he was there with Dr. Ben Carson, who is from Detroit. And for the last at least month, the liberal media has been saying, well, yeah, of course Donald Trump sounds really good in front of his white audiences. You know, he's playing to the audience. And why is it that he's not going to the inner cities and talking to the black folks? Well, liberal media, he did that. And guess what the liberal media did?
Freaked out at him and called him racist.
Yeah, they freaked out and they're like, well, of course, yeah, he was reading somebody else's words. And, you know, he didn't mean any of what he said. Here's the thing that I've learned. And each and every person that listens to this program is smart enough to know this. No matter what he does, he's not going to be able to please the liberal media.
Right.
And no matter what Hillary Clinton gets caught doing, there's nothing that she can do that will make the liberal media actually do a real freaking story.
That doesn't fit their agenda.
I mean, smashing freaking BlackBerries? If that was
That's totally normal.
If that was something that happened on the Trump side, that would be major news.
Investigation. Calling for an investigation.
This is one of those things where they're sneaking it out over Labor Day weekend, hoping nobody knows.
They're like, it's not a big deal. But look at what Trump said.
Yeah, so it's very, again, very, very biased. So, again, my favorite quote of the weekend, and it's not a direct quote, and I don't even know who the lady was that said it, but when it was all said and done, maybe I should have rewound it and wrote it down because it was pretty good. I honestly don't even know which show it was on. It was either Fox News Sunday or Face the Nation, one of the two. But she said something along the lines of, Trump is accused of saying the wrong thing, but Hillary keeps getting caught doing the wrong thing. And I just thought that was such a great thing to think about because at the end of the day, do you want somebody who the media is going to tell you they're a bad person and you're going to believe, oh, well, yeah, the media says they're bad, so they're bad. You want to choose somebody who you can see them doing bad things and you know for a fact that they're bad because they're doing the bad things. I'd rather go with the person that the media doesn't like. Maybe there's a reason the media doesn't like him.
Well, actions speak louder than words, and at the end of the day, the mainstream media is doing everything they can to suppress Donald Trump because they're afraid of him. They know how popular Donald Trump has been, and not just in recent years, but basically his whole life. Well, people know Donald Trump.
It was fascinating. I had recorded this, I don't know, a week ago or whenever it was on. On CNN, there's a program called The 80s. Now, my wife and I own two radio stations that are 80s radio stations, so that's my favorite decade, so I'm fascinated by the decade and everything to do with it. So we watched the 80s tonight, and while we were watching the 80s, I watched one whole episode was about Ronald Reagan. Mm-hmm. And then the second whole episode was really about Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev and the tearing down of the wall and what led up to that. And it was fascinating because many people probably remember this, if you're old enough to remember this, but the way that Donald Trump is being treated right now is exactly how Ronald Reagan was being treated when he was running for office, because he was not a, quote, politician.
Right.
He was an actor. The difference is he was also the governor of California, so he had some political track record before he came into office. But I can tell you he was still very much a political outsider, and he was very much coming in, doing things completely different than the way things had been done. And there were people who were very, very afraid of that.
Threatened, very much so.
And if you look back, here's the thing that I would say. Do you remember the Reagan years as good years, and do you think that would be a good thing for our country right now? Because if you think the answer to that is yes, why would you even consider Hillary Clinton? Mm-hmm. I mean, nothing whatsoever about hiring somebody who is right in line with the Jimmy Carter we have in office today, because, you know, the Obama presidency is very much like the Carter presidency. And if you want more of the same, Hillary Clinton is your choice.
Well, you see, the way I see it, if we elect Hillary Clinton, we're going to get more of the Clinton administration. We're going to get another Clinton administration, and what that's going to mean is probably another assault weapons ban, except this time they're going to learn from their mistakes, and they're going to tighten it up a little more. We're probably going to see the court stacked with some new, more liberal Supreme Court justices. It's going to be a very bad next 4 years, possibly even 8 if she gets elected a second time. And I think that just based on the, comparison that we've drawn between Reagan and Trump, if you want another Reagan administration, Trump seems to be your man. If you want another Clinton administration, Hillary's your lady,
There you go. Well, I think it'll be fascinating to see what happens. We're getting closer. Labor Day weekend here. This is kind of the turning point where...
beginning of the end.
Yeah, and it's crazy because this is when most years, this is when we kind of start the political season. We've been doing this for over a year now. And by the way, it's been almost a year since Hillary Clinton has done a press conference. Hillary is still in hiding. She did not come out for Labor Day to do anything. I thought maybe for sure this would be the time. Do think it's interesting. CNN is doing a huge Hillary Clinton piece and a Donald Trump piece for Labor Day. I'm going to be sure to record those and check that out. I think that'll be fascinating. And then there's an event Matt Lauer is doing, and I'm not sure what that is, but I had somebody ask me about it, so I guess I got to figure out what the heck that is. But it sounds like it's kind of a town hall or I don't know what it is. A forum, but it's not a debate. I have no clue.
Is it with both candidates?
Yeah, but they're not going to be on the stage together. So I'm not sure exactly what that is.
Maybe it'll be Trump with satellite, Hillary Clinton in person, or both
I have
with satellite.
no idea. I have no clue what... It sounds to me like it's a non-debate, but it was just like a way for them to get their policies out. So again, I'll have to check into what the heck that's all about and hopefully have an update for you here soon. So we kidnapped our son for the weekend and made him spend the Labor Day weekend with us. Did you have fun so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the highlight of the weekend thus far?
Probably explaining to you what Shrek is love, Shrek is life is.
After yesterday's podcast, I watched the video. I'm not encouraging you to do that.
By any means.
No, let me just say this. You can't unsee things, okay? And I can never unsee that. And you should be punished for making me watch that video.
Probably, yeah.
And let's never mention it on this podcast or anywhere ever again.
Okay.
All right. Thanks again for joining us, Troy.
You're welcome.
And thank you for listening to PoliticalStorm.com. I'm John Small.